So I want to thank you for joining us for this F-Serpent Chakra intro course. I've given you a little taste of the 7 chakras, a little bit of a preview of what's to come, and I hope this has added value to you. I hope you have a deeper understanding now of yourself and the 7 levels of these energies that you have within you, and I hope you also have some insights into the people in your life because you can understand where they're coming from. Are these people have blocked certain chakras, and maybe that's why there's a problem, and maybe it has to do with their childhood, or are you still holding on to something in one of these areas that's preventing you from opening that part of yourself? Whatever it is, I hope you use this information well. Don't try and force the healing on anyone, especially not even yourself. Be patient. Awareness is going to now begin to bring new connections and new people into your life that are going to help you accelerate your healing and growth process. And continue to have fun every day, because when you're having fun, good energy is moving, and that's going to continue to feed your entire system and bring you more and more into the fulfillment. As always, Mr. F. Serpent signing out. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you on the full course. Hello everyone. I want to welcome you to my Chakra Masterclass free introductory course that's going to give you an insight into your energy body, what's going on inside of you, how to master your 7 chakras, and get you ready for that journey that's going within, unlocking your full potential on each one of these 7 levels, and then manifesting it outwardly in the world. I'm super excited you're here. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I want to share with you a little bit about what's ahead in the course, who this is for, address any concerns, and get you fired up for the journey. So first of all, a little bit about myself. I'm a spiritual seeker, and I've been on the path for many years. I woke up as a young teen feeling like there was more to life and more to myself that I wasn't being taught in my ordinary school. So that led me on a quest. And I started reading all the ancient spiritual texts and literature, and I began to integrate it into holistic systems that made sense to me in my real life. So that meant I went out and read the Bible, read the Tao Te Ching, read the Bhagavad Gita, read the Bible again, started to study different techniques of meditation and different ways of looking at the universe. And I took all that information and started to synthesize it because I wanted to use it for myself. In the process, I also started to travel around the world, going to Tibet, going to England, going to China, going to these different locations that were these birthplaces of different forms of spirituality where I could learn. And I also, on my journey, studied energy healing. I learned about the subtle levels of reality and had quite a few interesting spiritual experiences myself, which leads us to here. Now I want to share the information I've learned with you, mainly because it made a huge impact in my own life, and because I know it will in yours too. This stuff is so relevant for the modern world. A lot of people who think this spirituality is woo-woo or somehow BS have completely missed the point. Real spirituality is about getting deeper in touch with who you are, unlocking those parts of yourself that are still either blocked or wounded, or you haven't just had the awareness yet that they're there. This course is going to help you become aware of all that you are. That's one of the most amazing things about us, is that we are complex, magnificent beings, and within us are different aspects. The 7 chakras are basically a tool to access those different parts of who you are and to heal them and to bring them forth. So anyone who's asking, is this going to be relevant to me? I tell them, look, is your love life perfect right now? Do you have what you want? And they're probably going to say no. And I would say, well, you need to look at your 2nd and your 4th chakras, and you need to examine what's gone on in your life related to those chakras, and that will tell you why your love life has issues. I would ask somebody, look, do you want more money, more financial abundance in your life? You need to look at mainly your 1st and your 3rd chakras and ask yourself what's going on there. And these chakras give you the tools and the keys to unlocking the fundamental energy centers that generate your outer results in life. So this is literally like getting the keys to your own kingdom so you can do the work inside to create the results outside that you're looking for. And it's so relevant for a lot of other reasons. Understanding the chakras is going to let you walk into a room and immediately understand who is functioning out of what chakra in that room. It tells you what they value. It tells you how to connect to them. It gives you an understanding of other people at a much deeper level. The fun part about this is that I'm going to make this as fun, as entertaining as I possibly can. I'm not one of the dry spiritual teachers who sits here and speaks to you in a very monotone voice and asks you to breathe and begin to get in touch with your energy body. Hell no. I'm about telling you how this actually works in the real world, how you can use it. I'm going to tell you who's already using different chakras for different things. Because when you see these successful authors or entertainers or actors or business people out there in the world, their success is connected to having mastered one of these or two of these 7 chakras. And I'm going to explain to you how that has worked for them. So this is the most relevant practical system of spirituality that I know. And I'm going to make the process of learning it super fun, super entertaining. I'm going to do all kinds of random anecdotes, random stories, even music videos throughout this course alone, so you can sense what's coming in the full chakra masterclass, which I'm working on, which is going to be a blueprint for unlocking human potential. And it's taking a lot of time because I'm putting a lot of energy and effort into making sure it has the full spectrum package. But for starters, with this course, let's go ahead and dive in and begin to understand what are your 7 chakras. Let's go. So what are the chakras? That's the first question I want to explore with you. The chakras are the 7 energy centers in your body. And there are a number of lesser or minor chakras, but we don't really care about that right now because if you focus on these 7, you understand these 7, you'll have the keys to the kingdom. So the term chakra comes from originally the Sanskrit language of India, and it means wheel or spinning wheel. In other words, the chakra is described as a spinning vortex of energy that's centered around a particular area of your body. So you have 7 major chakras. The lowest one starts down at the base of your spine, called your root chakra, and the highest one is just above your head, called the crown chakra. Each one of these chakras spins. It can be open, or it can be dim, or it can be entirely blocked or closed. And when they are entirely blocked or closed, there's an aspect of your life that is turned off. To give you a quick example of how this works, you may go through a period of time where you feel very disconnected from the idea of romantic love, connecting to others. You may be so focused on work that these things are just not part of your life at all. And at these times, perhaps your 4th chakra or your 2nd chakra is completely closed. And then, the moment you go out with some friends, see someone you're excited to see, bam, the chakra opens and begins spinning again. The same could be said for after you haven't worked out for a long period of time. And that first day you get back to the gym, your root chakra suddenly opens again and you remember how good it feels to actually be in the gym. But you forgot about that. Why was that? That chakra had been closed. See, where did we get this information? It all goes back to ancient India, where the monks and mystics who would sit in meditation for hundreds or in some cases thousands of days, and they would go within and they would understand what is the subtle level of the human body. These guys were the first masters of it. They were like spiritual scientists, if you will. And what they bring to us in their systems through the Vedic system and throughout the Indian culture was a deeper understanding of these energy centers within the human body and how karma and how past lives and these different concepts affect them. We're not going to go into that right now. The important thing is that you understand that the chakra is a spinning wheel of energy within the body. It can be blown open, it can be healthily open, it can be dim, or it can be closed. And what does each one of those things, we're going to cover in the next video. But for now, you understand the chakra. In our last video, we talked about how the chakras can be open, dim, or closed. Now let's talk about how or why this happens to us as we go through life. See, we come into this life not necessarily with all 7 of these open, and certainly we're not comfortable with all of them right when we're born. In fact, as we go through different phases of our life, different chakras become more important. From an early stage, when we're children, the main chakras that are blown open are our heart chakra as we connect to our mother, and our root chakra as we get comfortable in the physical body. And as we move through life, we hit puberty, and suddenly our sacral chakra becomes more active. Certainly the sexuality that we start to experience activates this chakra more. And as we go through different events in our lives, we'll open or close different chakras. So let's say you go through a very bad breakup and it really hurts. Your heart chakra may close off. Let's say, for example, you start to study something and you become very interested in what you're studying. The opening that happens in your third eye begins to enhance your ability to perceive the world. Each one of these chakras you could compare to a muscle, but that's not entirely accurate. The point is that as we go through life, our life events, the people we're around, and the attitudes we hold about ourselves affect whether our chakras are open or closed. And in this little intro course, I'm going to be giving you a basic understanding of how this works, how you may have already opened or closed certain chakras in your life, and for those that are blocked and that need healing, we can start the process within this course. So let's keep going. What's your favorite color? That particular color probably connects to the chakra you appreciate the most. Because on a subconscious level, the chakras are already real and we already intuitively understand them. In fact, every color that we experience in our society has been influenced by the chakra model. It's crazy. Why is it that every red light means stop and every green light means go? When red corresponds to the root chakra of authority and green is about the chakra of acceptance and action. Why is it that every fast food sign is colored yellow and red? The third chakra, centered in the stomach, and the root chakra, which is about survival consciousness. Interesting, isn't it? I mean, really, if you think about it, go through them all. In-N-Out, McDonald's, Burger King, they're all the same colors. Why? Because those colors evoke those particular chakras, which affects our human psychology in a certain way. When you begin to understand that the chakras and the color-coded system within each one of the chakras actually has a significance that's playing out in society, this thing gets really interesting. I'll be going more into that later, but I want to ask you what your favorite color is, because that chakra is probably your favorite one to use in life. On the other hand, what color do you hate? A lot of people hate, like, pink, for example. And when you hate a color, it also signifies you're very uncomfortable with that part of yourself and what that color represents. So in the case of pink, pink represents self-love and self-nurturing. Do you have a hard time taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself, doing nice things for yourself just because? That could be a sign that if you don't like pink, that's an area you need to work on. And actually, you should start wearing pink and embrace that side of things to become a full, well-rounded human being. So the colors and the color spectrum is a really useful tool. And as we go through this little course, I'm going to explain to you how each one of the chakra colors, as we move up from the root chakra at red all the way to the crown chakra at purple, represents a part of our lives. The root chakra is prominent in individuals who have a strong warrior attitude towards life, who are soldiers, who are athletes, who's that big jacked guy who just walks into the gym and he commands attention with his presence. Root chakra individuals are proactive. They get things done in life. These are people who know how to take action. They're constantly working. They have a good, healthy work ethic. You know those people who just spring out of bed in the morning with tons of energy and they get right to their day? This is a person with a healthy, strong root chakra. And if you're one of those people who has trouble getting up in the mornings or going, it's a sign that maybe there's an aspect of your root chakra to start working on. Every chakra has a location in the body and also has a set of glands, endocrine glands to be precise, that are associated with it. So for the root chakra, it's at the base of your spine. The glands that are associated are the adrenal glands. And if we think about the adrenal glands and what they do, they pump adrenaline for fight or flight. So root chakra people have that steady supply of adrenaline running. They have that healthy warrior attitude. And a lot of times root chakra people who really have that root chakra strong also have issues with anger. As I mentioned before, every chakra can be too open or closed. So certain people, for example, have a very, very blown open root chakra. These are people who get easily angry. They have tons of energy. They're prone to conflict. And a lot of times we need to tell these people they just need to chill out. Seriously. But there's other people who, for example, the root chakra is completely closed and they avoid conflict. They have a lower work ethic. They don't get angry easily at all. They don't have healthy boundaries. Every one of these chakras corresponds to some interesting parts of your psychology. And if the chakra is busted, you're going to notice that in your life, there's certain signs that are going to tell you that it's busted. How is your root chakra? Are you good at putting up boundaries? Healthy boundaries. Are you able to say no to other people? Are you able to stand up for yourself in situations? And are you able to consistently put in hard work? All of these factors will begin to tell you if your root chakra might need some healing. And as we go deeper into the full course, I'm going to give you the methods for actually healing that root chakra. I'm going to begin explaining to you meditations you can do, actual practical exercises you can do, like going to the gym, and ways you can begin to think about yourself so that you activate that warrior attitude within you, because we all have that side, and it's a perfectly healthy side when it's integrated with the rest of our chakras. So I hope this has given you a very basic understanding of what the root chakra is. Now we're going to move on to the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is centered in your hips, and it's the color of orange. It has to do with fun, pleasure, sexuality, and emotions. Are you blocked to the flow of life? Or do you feel deeply? Do you experience deeply? And do you have a way of enjoying your life? This is the question that the sacral chakra asks us all. And if it's something that's blocked in you, maybe it's time to get in touch with that joy, with that playful nature and that inner child. See, growing up in this society, it's hard because we get taught from an early age to come out of our bodies and into our minds. And we lose the fun and the experience of life if we do this. It's not all our fault. We're staring at computer screens most of the day. And in our mental realm, we're not connected to our feelings anymore. That's why there's a lot of healing work to do with our sacral chakra. The sacral chakra also gets blocked by experiences that provoke shame. Shame is a deadly, deadly emotion that can cover our light. And if we feel that we've been judged for expressing our sexuality, or if we've been judged simply for being ourselves, we tend to shut down that innate, enthusiastic light that comes from our sacral chakra and fills us with that life-giving, vital energy. The energy that actors and great musicians channel is this raw enthusiasm, this presence, this ability to just show up and embrace life itself and exude or glow that energy outward. So you can also tell that the sacral chakra is connected to our ability to attract other people, whether that's your romantic partners or whether that's business partners or even just friends. People respond to the magnetism of the sacral chakra. So if this chakra is blocked, you'll tend to push people away in life. You'll tend to not enjoy socializing. You'll tend to have the feeling that you need to control things. Whereas a healthy sacral chakra tells you, go with the flow and enjoy your life. It's connected on an endocrine level to either your ovaries, if you're a woman, or your testicles, if you're a man. And the sex hormones that you secrete basically power that sacral chakra. Sexual energy is fundamental to us as human beings. And so your relationship to your sexuality is very important to have that healthy sacral chakra glowing that nice orange and putting out the kind of energy that you want to put out into the universe. It's also connected to your creativity. So if you're an artist, if you're a writer, if you're someone who uses creativity in your life on a regular basis, pretty much guarantee you've learned at some level how to access that enthusiastic, raw, creative energy, which comes from our sexuality. Sexuality can be channeled into the act of sex, but it can also be transmuted, moved up the spine, and used for creative endeavors. And many of the most successful people actually know about this and know how to do it. So this is something, again, I'll be going into more in the full masterclass. The sacral chakra is one of the most important chakras to work on and to heal. And just to give you one idea of how you can start to do that, I highly recommend dance as a way to do that. As a guy, it's been awkward for me, like actually convincing myself that that's a good idea, but going to things like dance classes and learning to dance actually frees us from shame, gets us back into our bodies, and makes life a lot more fun. So I highly recommend that as one of the steps you can take if you feel that your sacral chakra has been blocked. One more piece I just want to tell you is that, on the other hand, if your sacral chakra is blown wide open, all you probably want to do is socialize, You probably have a pretty wild sexual life, or you're constantly with a partner of some kind, and you're absorbed in pleasure-seeking activities. And if that's the case, it's time to dial that back down and focus on strengthening the next chakra we're going to go into, which is your solar plexus chakra, your third chakra, your power center. Now, we all have certain chakras that are stronger than others, naturally. We get that way because of our soul. In other words, you've developed your chakras probably in other lifetimes. We won't go into that right now. Also, you get that because of your parents. Your parents model the use of the chakras when you're growing up. And whatever energies your parents had or were constantly in is what they teach you about how to use in your own body and your own life. So if you had a parent or a father, let's say, who has a strong work ethic and is very on it with his root chakra, you're probably going to be comfortable with root chakra energy in your own life, provided he didn't piss you off, in which case you probably reject root chakra energy and you go to other chakras. For example, if your mother was very loving and nurturing, you probably have a loving and nurturing side in you too. So we are influenced by our parents, we're influenced by our peers, and we're influenced by our karma. And so naturally, some of your chakras are going to be wide open. For me, my third chakra is one of my strongest ones. Your third chakra is your solar plexus chakra. It's the source of willpower, drive, identity, your ego, direction. This chakra is incredibly important because it allows you to project your intentions out into the world and direct yourself towards your goals. People with weak third chakras are at the top whims of life. They're blown about by the tides. They don't know what they're doing. When you call them and you ask them, hey, what should we do today? They usually tell you something like, I don't know, just hanging out, whatever. They don't have a clear sense of where they're going. The third chakra lets you focus in on purpose. Focus in on what matters to you and go after it. Successful entrepreneurs, anyone, basically entrepreneurs, athletes, any of those high-level performers, all have very powerful third chakras. The third chakra, when it's blown too far open, on the other hand, are people who have a controlling nature and who are constantly stressed out about controlling the details of life. That's when we have to tell them they just need to let go a little bit, breathe, and allow everything to flow and focus more back on connecting to their second chakra, which is where your flow happens. The third chakra is the source also of your identity. So whoever you tell yourself you are, it's housed in your solar plexus, which literally means the house of the soul. The third chakra is very, very important, but it also serves an even higher chakra above it, which acts as the centerpiece of the chakra system. And as cliche as it may sound, it's time for you to open your heart. Love, connection, community, forgiveness, giving to others without expecting a return. Many of the great spiritual traditions talk about the heart as being the key to unlocking all authentic spirituality. Many depictions of Jesus Christ feature him in this pose with his 3 fingers across his heart, as if to say, hey! He's reminding us that the heart opens the doorways to authentic spirituality and deep feeling. The heart allows us to have compassion for other people who are suffering. And lets us take our eyes off of ourselves. We feel so self-important all the time, thinking about what's going on in our life and worrying about all these things, which in reality won't matter in a year, and moreover, don't actually help the world or anyone else. And if we change our minds through accessing our heart chakra, we get a different perspective of life. We realize that service to others is one of the highest virtues of being human. We realize that our relationships are very important. And all this wisdom is born out of activating your heart chakra. The heart chakra is very, very, very powerful and very interesting. Typically, if you see people with an overactive heart chakra, you'll see them giving all the time. All they want to do is give. And you see this in mothers, you see it in therapists, you see it in nurses, people who devote their whole lives to taking care of others and nurturing others. And a lot of times these people have a hard time loving themselves or taking care of themselves. And the truth of the heart chakra is there's two sides to it. On one hand, you have the green of the heart chakra is giving to the world. But on the other side, on the back side of your heart, is your pink, which reflects your ability to love yourself and to receive love. So where are you? Are you a giver? Do you just give all the time and you deplete yourself and you don't ever take for yourself or allow yourself to receive or let yourself love yourself? Or are you someone who loves themselves maybe too much, who pampers and nurtures themselves constantly and doesn't think about nurturing others at all? And ideally, these are both in balance because you are part of a bigger system that is the world. And if you let yourself be loved, you're going to love better. If you let yourself be nurtured and taken care of, you're going to nurture better. And you're going to model for everyone else in your life what it means to be balanced, both receiving that love and giving it. The heart chakra also is the beginning of healing abilities. When you really activate your heart chakra, people will instinctively feel it. They will come to you with their problems. They'll suddenly open up to you and they won't even know why. They just start talking and suddenly they're telling you all kinds of things about their lives that they say they normally don't tell anybody, and they're confused. Why am I telling you this? I don't know. I never talk about this stuff, but I just feel comfortable with you. It's because your heart chakra is open. So allowing this part of yourself to really spring alive is going to deepen your relationships. It's going to deepen your fulfillment. And it's going to give you that sense of inner peace that you may be struggling with right now if your life is really busy and hectic and stressful, like most of us in the Western world. Just taking time to breathe, to meditate every day, and to be grateful inherently will strengthen your heart chakra. But if you really want to heal, if you really want to strengthen this chakra, the key is relationships. And ask yourself how you can show up to be a better person, a better friend, a better lover, a better parent. Those are the questions to ask yourself about strengthening your heart chakra. And when you figure those out, we get to communicate to the rest of the world through our fifth chakra, our throat chakra. Everything in your life is an expression of your creativity. And ask yourself, are you fully expressing your creativity in life? Or are you judging your creativity, blocking your communication, not speaking your truth? Because if you're not, it means you've got to work on your throat chakra. The throat chakra is the birthplace of magic. It allows you to reach out with your words, with your intentions, and project them out into the universe and call things to you, to structure reality, to influence people. See, most of our bodies are water. And if you've ever seen the studies done by Dr. Emoto from Japan, you'll know that water responds to the waves of sound and consciousness that affect it. And whatever we communicate affects that water. So on one hand, you can communicate to other people and realize you're affecting them. You're using your voice like a tuning fork, just like I'm affecting you right now, hopefully in a good way. The same is said for our communication within ourselves. You're talking to yourself all the time, whether you think you are or not. You've got that little voice that's thinking thoughts as you go about your day. You have power over that voice, and you can decide what thoughts it's going to think and what it's going to tell you. All of that is up to you. So you probably want to tell yourself something nurturing and fun and good, and that's going to actually really make you feel good in life, and not something that distracts you or makes you feel weak or judges you. This is what we call your inner communication. So the first step to healing your throat chakra is developing a supportive inner dialogue that nurtures and takes care of you, doesn't knock you down. And this can be challenging. If you've got those negative voices, which we all have sometimes, it takes practice and effort to rewire them. This is where techniques and tools like affirmations and mantras are very useful. And in the flow class, I'm going to be teaching you how to use these to silence those voices of inner doubt and bring you more fully into the confidence and the self-love that you want to have. The throat chakra is predominant among individuals who are making a living by expressing themselves. So musicians, artists, authors, even politicians who can communicate with power and with emotion and with passion, and who can captivate an audience and just bring people into their spell. You see, words are literally like spells. And they have such a power to influence and captivate the human mind that the throat chakra is that center of power for you. So when you think of these individuals who are making a living on their communication abilities, it tells you that this is something you can use in your life to either boost your sales or increase your output or be able to do something really impactful. Developing a writing practice is really helpful. I'm going to be talking more about that in the full course. And even starting to get in front of camera and shoot video can be a very interesting experience because you see yourself reflected back to yourself and you can begin to see where your communication challenges lie. And bit by bit, you can unlock that to fully communicate your truth. So we've talked a little bit about the throat chakra. I want to give you a couple other examples of people who are way blown open in their throat chakra and people who are closed down. People who are blown open are babbling all the time. They're rambling on, they'll never shut up. It's like, dude, you've been talking for the last 5 minutes. Have you no idea that we have things to say as well? But when people's throat chakra is blown open, that's how they are. They just don't know what they're doing. And they need to be told again and again until they realize they need to dial it in. On the other hand, a lot of people are blocked. Maybe they got judged for speaking when they were younger. Maybe they got told they were stupid. Maybe they got told that what they had to say wasn't valuable. And so these are people who just don't talk anymore. And it's really sad. But if you're one of those people who has that judgment of your own communication, it's time to step out and start speaking your truth. It's time to begin doing practices that allow you to find your authentic voice and express that voice in the world. And in the full course, I'm going to be going into methods for doing that. Next, we're going to explore the mysterious third eye chakra, which is the seat of your intuition, your critical thinking, so that you don't just believe everything you're told, and your perception of what reality and what the truth even is. It all happens up here. Your third eye is the seat of your perception of the truth. Whatever you think about your life, whatever you think about who you are, and whatever you think about what the world is all born from the projection out of your third eye. Accessing your third eye, activating this chakra begins to activate your intuitive abilities to perceive the truth, to perceive at subtle levels of reality, to see the things that ordinary people miss. And silence is one of the virtues that cultivates the third eye. Can you sit in silence with yourself? Just allowing yourself to perceive every little thing that's going on around you. And if not, maybe it's time to start practicing. There are many meditative and contemplative disciplines that are going to help to open your third eye and bring this part of your life deeper into its full manifestation. This is what monks cultivate when they go and sit on the mountaintop for weeks at a time, and they come back with that mysterious look in their eyes that they can see more. What they see, they don't tell you, but you know they're seeing more. It's because their third eye is open. The third eye will let you perceive the intentions of others, the feelings of others, in some cases, even the aura of other people. But the third eye can be blocked just like any other chakra. The third eye gets blocked, and you begin to feel a sense of confusion about the truth of your life. For many, this means constant distraction. It means being in a situation where you're constantly going on your phone or your computer or clicking on Facebook or trying to distract yourself for no good reason. The third eye brings clarity, understanding to your life. People whose third eye is popped way open are constantly analyzing everything, seeking to understand, spending tons of time reading. And if that's you, maybe it's time to drop out of your upper chakras a bit and down into your body. Do some more exercise. Go dance. Do something that's basic and primal. And get out of that thinking mode because it can be too much. But for those of you who don't place learning and meditation and contemplation high on your value list, maybe it's time for you to practice that more. Maybe it's time for you to pick an interesting book and read that this month. Or maybe it's time for you to do a meditation practice. These things are going to strengthen your third eye. The third eye is also the seat of the so-called intuitive, magical powers that humans have, like being psychic. The truth is that we're all psychic. You're reading thoughts all the time, you just haven't learned to discern what's yours and what's not yours. When you walk into a crowded room or a bar, you're going to be picking up on all the other energies and thoughts that are spinning around in what we call the ether, the invisible world beyond the physical reality that connects us all. And your third eye is what perceives the ether. Well, if you haven't learned this kind of information or realized that many of the thoughts you're having in your head aren't your thoughts, it can be kind of a startling realization when you begin to walk through a venue and begin to see, oh my God, that wasn't my thought. Whose thought was that? It's cool too, though, because you realize you're more tapped in than you thought you were, and you're more connected to everything than you thought you were. All of this tends to happen through that third eye. The endocrine gland associated with the third eye, by the way, is called the pineal gland, and I highly recommend you do a little research on this. The pineal gland is one of the most revered symbols in the ancient world. It was depicted as a pine cone, because that's basically what it looks like if you can see a map of the brain. A little tiny pine cone that secretes some very important hormones related to our dreams, related to what happens when we die, because at death, dimethyltryptamine floods through the brain, giving us a transcendent spiritual experience, oftentimes called life review. This is the last scene of the movie where the main character reviews all the choices they've made in their life. And when you do a major drug trip, or even when you have a very intense or traumatic life experience, this chemical can flood the brain and give you those mystical experiences that people often talk about. And that maybe if you're a spiritual seeker, you're eager to have one. Well, I can tell you that you don't need to go and have a near-death experience to have one of these mystical awakenings. What is required is that you spend time in stillness, being with yourself, being with the emotions that you don't want to feel, and allowing yourself to find a place of peace. Because when you get there, I promise, the fireworks will start. Now let's talk about the very last chakra in this course, the crown chakra. It's going to connect us to our higher guidance, higher dimensions, our higher self, and the larger intelligence of the universe that is begging to come into your life and help guide you, if only you can surrender. The purple crown chakra, called the crown because it symbolizes your connection to the divine. In ancient times, the rulers of great nations were considered gods or descended from the gods, in part because perhaps they were, but more importantly because it was understood that the kings or the queens had to have a connection to the heavens. They had to receive their authority from a higher place. They had to have that guidance from the heavenly realms in order to effectively guide here on earth. And so this tells us about the crown chakra and its nature. It has to do with accepting guidance, surrendering our little idea of how we think things are going to go, and opening ourselves up to something much higher that wants to work through us. It's like one of the hardest things to do because we all want to control things in our life. But having a healthy crown chakra is about releasing that control, surrendering, and saying, all right, universe, God, source, whatever name you want to give it, I'm here and I'm ready to receive the guidance and the instruction for my path. Show me the way. And it's not going to happen in some blinding light that flashes from the heavens and some angels that appear and start giving you instructions. It doesn't work like that. The way it works is you put that intention out into the world. You send up your prayers, and then you watch the mundane, simple things that happen around you. Watch who calls you. Watch who shows up. Watch how you run into randomly. This is the universe speaking to you in its subtle language, beckoning you further on the path inward to yourself and towards your fulfillment and success. But you have to understand that the universe speaks to us in symbols. It speaks to us in subtle events. I like to say that god or the goddess is a very clever fellow, and he or she gives us little breadcrumbs and wants us to figure it out ourselves and just go on the path. It's not all going to get laid out for you. But learning to trust and surrender is one of the greatest things that you can do. As I'm going to explain in a full chakra masterclass, every chakra has a corresponding chakra that balances it. So in this case, the crown chakra is balanced by the yellow solar plexus chakra. Why? Because the solar plexus is the seat of our willpower. That's where we control things. That's where we make shit happen. But the crown chakra is where we surrender and allow a higher intelligence to move through us in our life. These two, if they're in balance, mean you're ready for leadership. But if they're not, it means you've got to work on the other one. The same can be said for the heart chakra and the root chakra. The root is all about physical strength and power and me, I, right? But the heart is all about giving and connection and community. So if these things are in balance, you're going to be doing pretty good. But if one of them's missing, well, your life may become a bit of a train wreck for a little while. And the fun part is putting the puzzle pieces all back together, healing each level of your psyche, going through those painful experiences you've had, and forgiving the people you need to forgive, forgiving yourself, and beginning to do the practices, most importantly, that strengthen each one of these areas of your life. So, I've covered the crown chakra and a couple other pieces about this purple. Priests, monks often wear purple. It's a very spiritual color, and it's for this reason. Surrendering to the guidance of our higher beings. People often call them guardian angels. And I won't say that they're absolutely real, but I think that the idea is a fascinating one. And imagine that you have a team of guides who's with you at this very moment, helping to direct your earthly life and give you insights and inspirations. And if you open your crown, you allow that insight in, you'll discover that you're having a conversation with the universe and that your every step is in fact quite purposeful, whether you believe it or not, and that everything around you has been set up for a very interesting set of reasons. For your highest growth and a much bigger cosmic play that you and I are all a part of, and that it is my joy to explain, to explore, and to expand as we go through our lives. So I want to thank you for joining us for this F-Serpent Chakra intro course. I've given you a little taste of the 7 chakras, a little bit of a preview of what's to come, and I hope this has added value to you. I hope you have a deeper understanding now of yourself and the 7 levels of these energies that you have within you, and I hope you also have some insights into the people in your life, because you can understand where they're coming from. Are these people have blocked certain chakras, and maybe that's why there's a problem, and maybe it has to do with their childhood, or are you still holding on to something in one of these areas that's preventing you from opening that part of yourself? Whatever it is, I hope you use this information well. Don't try and force the healing on anyone, especially not even yourself. Be patient. Awareness is going to now begin to bring new connections and new people into your life that are going to help you accelerate your healing and growth process. And continue to have fun every day, because when you're having fun, good energy is moving, and that's going to continue to feed your entire system and bring you more and more into the fulfillment. As always, Mr. F Serpent signing out. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you on the full course.